My name is Martina, and that trip to the south of France was an impulsive decision. I needed some time for myself, away from the hustle and bustle of everyday life. I chose a small village in the Provence region, famous for its lavender fields and charming wineries. I stayed in a charming country house, surrounded by flower gardens and with a stunning view of the hills. One afternoon, I decided to visit a winery recommended by the locals. I arrived and was greeted by an elegant and charismatic man. His name was Julian, the owner of the winery. He had deep brown eyes and a smile that radiated warmth. "Welcome, Martina. It will be a pleasure to show you our winery," he said, with a seductive French accent. Julian took me on a tour of the vineyards, explaining the process of growing and harvesting the grapes. His passion for what he did was evident, and his melodious voice made every word enchanting. We walked among the vines, and the chemistry between us grew with each step. The aroma of ripe grapes and the heat of the sun added to the magical atmosphere. After the tour, Julian invited me to a wine tasting in the cellar. The room was cool and intimate, with oak barrels and shelves full of bottles. He prepared a special selection of wines for me, and as we tasted, the conversation flowed naturally. Each sip of wine seemed to intensify the attraction between us. "There's something special I want to show you," said Julian, with a mysterious gleam in his eyes. He took me to a more private part of the cellar, where there was an old wine press. "This press has been used by my family for generations," he explained, moving closer. The atmosphere was intimate, and Julian's proximity made my heart race. Julian pulled me close, his eyes fixed on mine. "Martina, you're fascinating," he whispered, and before I could respond, he kissed me. The taste of the wine on his lips and the intensity of his touch made me dizzy with pleasure. I felt his hand slide down my body, exploring every curve with a mix of urgency and tenderness. He laid me down gently on a pile of bags of grapes, his kisses becoming more ardent. The heat of our bodies, the scent of the grapes, and the feel of Julian's hands on my skin created an overwhelming sensory experience. Every touch, every kiss took us deeper into a sea of desire. We lose track of time, surrendered to the moment and intense pleasure. Every caress, every sigh increased the passion between us. The cellar, with its shadows and aromas, was the perfect setting for our delivery. When we finally pulled away, I was exhausted but completely satisfied. We returned to the tasting room, where the soft candlelight illuminated our faces. Julian hugged me, his lips brushing my ear. "You're amazing, Martina. I'll never forget this afternoon," he whispered, and I smiled, feeling completely happy. Provence would never be just a tourist destination for me again. That meeting with Julian had transformed my stay into a sensual and unforgettable adventure. I returned to my country house with a smile on my face, looking forward to more moments like that.